So, welcome everyone. We are here at Tijdloos, where we have been with the Meditatietuin for the first week of adventure. On Monday, we started the crowdfunding journey with the theme seeding. This is part of a 5-week journey in which we manifest the center in Amsterdam. And so far, this week has been a beautiful kind of melting pot with artists, friends, and family. And right here, in this moment, I'm sitting with Praful, a sound healing and artist and dear friend of us. And yeah, maybe you would like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, I work with sound and music and compose and produce and do concerts and healing journeys and play all kinds of instruments, flute, saxophone, vocals, and lots of little other things. And travel around the globe, sharing music in a way that it becomes an opportunity to come to a deeper place inside of yourself. And that can be through all kinds of types of music. It can be very meditative music or dancing music. I think music in many different ways has that power to sort of bring you back to yourself.
Well, very nice to hear. Um, I'm wondering, this week we are in a theme of seeding, which is for me personally about connecting to the seeds of potential inside of me. It's really about listening to what wants to be lived through me. And I'm wondering how you experience this in your work.
Well, a beautiful maybe image of seeding when you're a musician and you write, you create your own music would be, let's say, if you want to compose something, and then go into the process of creating that and recording it and bringing it out into the world. And for me, seeding, well, at the beginning of that process, like if I would want to write a song, I would. What happens is, where the best ideas come from is to, let's say, create a space in which you feel inspiration can happen, in which you feel seeds can start to grow. In this case, the seed would be, let's say, an idea for a song. Yeah. So let's say I would sit somewhere, maybe like in a beautiful environment like here, if you can, and then we sit here in this beautiful sort of herb garden, and then maybe you have an instrument with you, like a little guitar or whatever, and then to see if I can come to this place where I just create that space inside of me where something can happen. So not so much like thinking like, okay, I need to have an idea now and then look for that idea actively, but more like sort of going into this receptive state and then wait and allow for something to come. And sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And for me, it's important to not be too goal-oriented. Like for me, creativity has a lot to do with not being too specific about this is sort of what I want to create, but not this. Yeah, so like to allow this vast field of creativity just to express itself in the way it comes, and then sometimes it means playing around a little bit, like with your instrument. Like sometimes it's not enough to just to sit and say like, okay, I'm just waiting until that, that drop of inspiration comes. But for me, it works really well to also just play, like go into this playfulness and maybe play around on my I always travel with the ukulele and I play with that and maybe some chords and some things. And then often there's this moment when suddenly you feel this tingling and you feel like, oh, I like this. I like what I'm playing now. Oh, this could be something, you know. And you feel like you're up to something, and that is usually the kind of moment I wait for, you know, when you feel like a little bit of magic starts, happening in the air,
Yes.
as if like a little fairy has just been flying around you or something, you know. And this is a wonderful feeling when you're busy with creation, with art or music, I find, because you get this feeling like, okay, this could be something. And then going from there, and often once you have that starting point, and that for me would be the seed then, you know, when you have that seed and you plant, and then from there things often just go, and sometimes it goes very fast, sometimes it takes weeks before a song is done, and you go back to it again and again, you know. That doesn't really matter. Every creation has its own sort of needs its own time, you know. And I've learned also over the years to be patient, and maybe, you know, there are some songs that have been sitting in the drawer maybe for 3 years before I get back to them, and suddenly I'm like, oh wow, I could do something more with this, or you know. And some things are like there in 3 minutes, you know. But this is for me, seeding is like really um, intention coming together with inspiration, and then waiting for that, you know, that sweetness, that love feeling of that, you know, of coming.
Great. It's a beautiful answer. And I questioned you, or I asked you a question in relationship to your work, but what I sensed already that it is really, it's also creativity, and it feels like that it is not only for being an artist, but maybe also for any kind of creativity, from making art to developing a business, or maybe feeling what your longing is in life and kind of following that path. Um, and what comes to mind is, yeah, I'm wondering like um, how much, struggling a little bit with English here, but how much when you are coming in touch with the seed, how much is it for you about connecting to yourself? And how much is the seed actually becoming you? Or is it more a separate thing? I'm wondering how you experience this.
Well, you know, when I with the music, and for me the music is a very beautiful way of learning how to live in general, because when I talk about this creativity and the seeding, there's no difference between writing a song and dreaming your life, actually, you know, or envisioning or manifesting your life. Everything that happens to you has sometime in the past started with that same process. There has been some sort of intention set by you, and some sort of idea that you have, um, hooked into, and you have followed through, and then everything that becomes reality started from that, you know, whether you're aware of it or not, you know. But there has been that creative process happening all the time, you know, consciously or unconsciously. So I think that's where the meditation comes in. It enables you to become more conscious of who you are and what wants to come out of you when we talk about seeding and creativity. So the more conscious you become of that, the more consciously you will create. The creation is for me like a conscious manifestation. You know, there's an intention, and there's so I would say that there's no difference really. I don't know if that answers you. I forgot what you asked afterwards. What was it you said?
Well, I think this was a great answer. And what I really liked of your answer is that you said like the word creation. And there's this sentence like you are part of creation. And what I feel with this is like personally in my life when I went to school, I always learned things, how to do certain things, but it wasn't coming from within. And for me, also, what Praful says, seeding is really about connecting who I am, to listen, like, what does creation wants me to create?
Exactly.
And yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just want to hook into that because if you look at the seed, it's like the seed grows in the earth anyway, and it falls from the tree most probably or from some other plant. You didn't make that seed. You didn't make the earth that it grows in. You didn't make the sun that it needs to grow, and you didn't make the rain that it needs to grow. So what is it actually that you think in your separate identity? What is it actually you are doing when you are seeding and then it's growing and then you're harvesting, you know? I mean, this is something that happens by itself, but what we can do is we can help that process, you know, like if we say like, okay, this is something that I want to see or I feel that life wants to create through me, you know, and it's like that's the way I play music. I just open myself to whatever wants to come through like a hollow bamboo. And then um, I mean, when I was younger, I thought very much music was about learning how to play. And once you've done that, then you come to the point that the only thing you need to do is learn how to take yourself away. That's the only thing I need to do now. It's like if there's some sort of idea of, oh, you know, mind in the way or identity or idea that I have to know what I'm going to do and all these things, then that's the only thing, the only job you have left at some point is just to continuously take yourself out and let it just happen, you know, because everything happens so beautifully, you know, just like the seed.
so
Um,
natural.
and I think what we can do with our intelligence is we can help that process. So we can say, okay, this is a great earth to plant the seed, you know, and if you plant this seed here, it will grow really well. And if we plant another seed of that plant next to it, it will protect this plant from, you know, from whatever insects that will eat it up. And, you know, so with our understanding, we can help to make this whole creation even more beautiful and more happening, you know, if we are in that life flow and we're not against it, you know, with our own sort of personal ideas of what we want to see happening, you know. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you, Praful.
Welcome.
Really enjoyed our conversation, and I also want to invite the people who watch this video to really inquire even a little bit deeper the question. So maybe not even like what intentions you would like to have as a seed, but maybe to ask the question within and really ask to life like which seeds want to grow inside of me, which direction or what in life wants to grow or what life wants to grow. And thank you for watching.